How does it feel for yourself? I mean, how's the week been for yourself as captain for this week?
Yeah, I feel very privileged and honoured to get the nod of captain this week. And first and foremost, I'd probably say I'd much rather be playing with Harry and for him to be leading us out. But I also feel very proud to be part of a special club.
Robbie's out. I mean, Harry's out, but in his absence, Rob Valentini comes in, and in such a the Springboks will be becoming a lot of physicality. I mean, surely we're looking forward to have someone like him in this second test.
Yeah, definitely. He's someone that everyone thoroughly loves playing with. He's physical. He's a great person to have in the team, and look at the depth we've got in the back row at the moment. Our captain Wilso being out, Bobby steps in. So yeah, couldn't ask for a better replacement there, and I reckon he's roaring to go, having missed the previous few tests. So yeah, he's gonna be good out there.
Fraser, sorry, what do you see as your role tomorrow? Because Joshua said you were sort of a quiet leader. How are you going to go about this captaincy gig?
Probably won't change too much from what I would be doing if Harry was playing. Let the game drivers do their thing, and I'll let my game do most of the talking. Try to get to the ref when I can, but other than that, just do what I normally do. Not much changes.
Unfortunately, Peachy misses out. I mean, Corey Toole, the quickest guy apparently in Australia ranked at the moment. I mean, like familiar territory for him playing. You normally plays at Cape Town Stadium for the sevens, but I mean, how cool is it to have someone like him playing on the wing for you guys this weekend?
Oh, it's super special for Toole. He's been around in the squad for 18 months and has been training and working so hard to get his crack. And before this test match, things hadn't gone his way. And again, look at the depth we've got. In the back three position, there's so much depth there. And this weekend finally gets his crack. And when his name came up on the projector when the team got named, there was just a huge roar for him. And it just shows how much everyone's happy for him. And I think his family's flown over, and it's just such a really special moment for him and his family.
You guys are smiling this week, but in other camp, the Springboks aren't smiling after last week's defeat. I mean, what are you expecting from the Springboks this weekend?
Pretty much more of what they played in the first 20 minutes. They dominated us there and super physical. They've made a few changes there, and they're looking to probably obviously rectify and bring what they brought in that first 20.
What has the message been from Joe this week after a big win in Johannesburg, now coming to Cape Town Stadium?
Look, I think it was obviously a tale of two sort of halves on the weekend, and there's plenty to work on. You look at that first 20 when Springboks dominated us. There was a lot to improve on, whether it's defensively, our attacking game, where we saw pictures. And for us, that's what we like to see, because we're building. Improvement isn't linear. It's something that we try to achieve each training day, each game day. So for us, it's about going out there, rectifying what we thought we could do a lot better, practicing that this week, and then hopefully come tomorrow night being able to demonstrate that.
Fraser, 2 questions. My tough one first. Congrats on being captain as well.
Oh, thank you.
First one is, what are all the Wallabies lineout calls?
No, I don't know. I'm not in any lineouts. There you go.
Second one is, classic case of attacking a jackler is to make you a tackler. You made 21 tackles in the first test, but you were still able to get on the ball, slow the ball, and pick and choose. What's that like? What's it like out there to find the right breakdowns to get over the ball?
It's a great question. It's something I've been working on for a few years now. Obviously, it's probably when I first started, it was a lot about just going to try and smash every ruck. And then you tend to realise that you're getting smoked a lot off the ball, and engines overworking, you're not using your energy in the right places to where you should. So over the years, being able to develop the pictures in my mind, working with some great coaches, some other great poachers, and seeing what they see and trying to use that in my own game. And I think it's about, like you said, picking and choosing and being able to understand that, if they've had a dominant carry, what's the chances of me getting a reward if I go over the ball? Most likely I'm just going to get smoked. If it's close to our try line, I'll do everything I can. But I think it's picking and choosing when when they're isolated, when there's no cleaners around the ball, or it's a great chop or great dominant tackle from us. That's typically what I try to look for.
Yeah, in the red zone, or A zone as you guys call it, I think you're often backing off of those breakdowns, live to fight another day. Is that how you kind of play it?
I try not to overthink it, to be honest. I try to see the pictures in front of me and react to that. If there's a small window, trust me, I'll be trying my best to get in there. But also other times, I'm more worried about, being in the defensive line and just helping, the men inside and outside of me.
Can I ask you, the common line touted out of these press conferences, you're concentrating very much on yourselves, etc., but in the wake of a potential backlash, how much focus do you put on what the Boks have done in terms of their team changes, anticipating what this new look lineup is going to be, etc., etc.? How much of that has dominated this week of prep?
It's not really dominated too much, to be honest. We know that Springboks have a lot of quality players and they tend to use them all. So we, even last week, we didn't know who they were going to play because of the depth. So again, that first 20 we played, it was pretty poor. So for us to go out there and try to rectify that first 20, I dare say, like I said before, the Boks want to come out and do that for the whole game. So how can we prevent them? What can we do better in our power? So for us, it's a lot about us as it is. We're looking in the mirror, what can we do better throughout the week? Obviously, we don't train against the Springboks. We have plans to, and an idea of what they're going to try to do, but we could plan for that, and then on the weekend they do something completely different. So I think that's why a lot of the focus is on us and control what we can control.
And the final one from our side, just talking about the loose forward battle, they've got John Luke Dupree in, and they've got Franco Mostert in. I mean, what are you expecting from that loose forward battle, especially with the two key players missing for the Springboks in Peter Steptoe and Siya Kolisi?
Again, great depth, so they'll be pretty physical. Big ball carrier, dominant, try to win the game line both sides of the ball, right? So Franco's played a lot of football. Jean also, has been there and been quality. So yeah, it's going to be a great battle, and it's typically some of the most competitive on the fields. The loose trio battle, and looking forward to it.
Anything further in the room? Happy? Anyone online? Pato, Mel, Nick?
Yeah, I'll go if that's all right. Fraser, congratulations. Obviously, you're following a pretty proud tradition of players in the number seven jumper to be captain. Like Hoops and even going back to David Pocock and George Smith and the like. So, I mean, what does that sort of mean to you, I guess, to get that honour?
Yeah, it's obviously such a proud and rich tradition and history. I think, having played with Hoops and spoken a lot to George and even Poe in the recent years, it's pretty cool. And I'm just trying to do my bit. Obviously, I said before, I'd much rather play with Harry, and follow him. And I think, it's pretty cool being able to be captain after one of my best mates was captain. I think, we room together. That's pretty special. So he's been very helpful this week. And look, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm just trying to do my job and not change really anything. So I think that's also a bit of a power for me, being able to not need or worry about changing anything. I can just kind of go out there and do what I've been doing. Let the game drivers do what they do best, and the leaders within the squad lead. So, yeah.
And obviously, you've been with the Wallabies, through some of their lowest times, I guess at the World Cup. What's the feeling like in the camp now, the belief, when you can do something break a record that's existed for 60-odd years? Can you reflect, I guess, back at both at the times then and how you feel now that you feel like you've maybe beat anyone at your best?
Yeah, I think there's obviously difference between that year and where we're now, but again, we're still sort of building. We've got plenty to work on, trust me, and I think the key about this group is just how close we are, off the field, and it really shows on the field. The work ethic, the willing to to go 110% for each other, and I think that's because of how close we are. There's no groups, there's no segregation or anything like that. We're all kind of together. We all have good laughs. We really love and enjoy spending time together, and I think that's what shows. But again, obviously, like, I think we're just playing a really good brand of Australian rugby that we all thoroughly enjoy. You know, it's skillful, it's smart, and Joe's done a great job in being able to, you know, collect us all in and get a bit of confidence.
Bryce, can I just ask, mate, there was a nice picture that you posted of George Gregan in the sheds giving him a bear hug after that win. Was that just a pop-in visit, or did George have anything to say after that game?
I don't. He didn't. I think it was a pop-in visit. I saw him and was pretty happy and gave me a big cuddle, and I gave him probably a harder cuddle. So it was a cool moment, and it was pretty special him being there. Yeah, for sure.
Last one from me. It's just obviously that apart from kind of the injury forced ones, there seems to be a nice kind of ability of being consistent at the selection table over the last couple of weeks, last few tests. How does that help as far as what you're trying to put on a field, just being able to field the same team over and over?
I guess there's two sides of it. Obviously, the same sort of team and getting to know each other, you know, ins and outs on the field, off the field, you know, having those micro chats, and then, you know, being able to work under pressure with someone. It definitely helps when you do that week in, week out. But there's so much competition in this squad, and you know, if we're lucky enough to get selected on this for the Saturday night, you know, the team that isn't playing, you know, puts us through the ringer during the week, and there's plenty of competition there. So lucky enough, you know, we've been able to have a crack, and our job is to continually put in the effort for that game and you know, represent the Wallaby Gold with great intentions and do really well there. And obviously, if anyone was to step out, there's someone to fill their place. That's the squad that, you know, Joe's been able to, you know, select, and everyone competes really hard, and a bit of a, you know, confidence within the team is next man up. But I think back to the point of being everyone together and being able to play week in, week out, I think it's a great thing.
If I may jump in there, Fraser, you mentioned the previous leadership and Harry and you not trying to reinvent the wheel. Coach Joe described you as a quiet guy who leads by example. Would you say that was accurate? And then maybe how do you repeat the strong performance you and the team had last week?
I think, you know, everyone in a team environment, you know, plays their role, and, you know, my role, regardless of this weekend, is to do my job well. And what is that? As a number 7, you know, be a good defender, be a pest, you know, have a high work rate. That's what I try to do. But we've got such great leaders in this team. You know, before, you know, this weekend we had, you know, James Slipper, who's played almost 150 tests, Nick White, James O'Connor, Will Skelton, blokes have been around for so long. I don't really need to speak, you know. If I do, it'd be about defence, and we've got so many great defenders and defensive leaders within the team as well. You know, Lenny Katau, you know, Tom Wright at the full, you know, at the back, and, you know, having Wills as a great mate of mine. You know, he comes to me, and if he wants me to speak about something that, you know, needs speaking about, probably more about the defensive side of things, that's when I speak up. But yeah, typically I try to stay quiet, head down, and bum up.